Good morning. Or whatever it is, wherever you are. So I messed up last week. And reran the game again. So I don't have a log with the exceptional frame times in it to see if there's any obvious causes. What I was able to notice while playing is it was very often hitting during the update portion of it, which I'm actually not sure what that is. Well, there's time measures. There's the time string. I guess we need to know what time... Alright. You're drawing it. Oh, that's one of the names. We need this. I don't know what the indexes are. Just 2. So updates would be 1. Which is step. So 16002 to 14649. Not leave anything out of update. There's some socket stuff. So we've got server socket connected, not read success. But that's going to show you a screen. So we don't think it would be that. Unless it's some kind of immediate reconnect. If first message received, handle our death. Yeah. Oh, that's before update start time anytime. Anyway. Wait, didn't I see it? Time measures. Oh, that's message process. Okay, so that's 0. Then we have update start time. And we were usually seeing... I think it was update. Move moving objects. There was some change with that recently with the sprinklers and stuff. Extra moving objects. Update the fades. Excel, some paper targets. Home slips, location slips. Well, they might have made some changes there. Yum slips. Regular home slips. Or maybe this is my location slips. Live triggers. Hint management. Current learned tool hints. There's learned tools again. All right, there's state updates and then there's interpolating the movement. Tutorial sheets. Craving sheet, which I did modify a little bit. Now, waiting for a response to action, you still see the character bounce, so it wouldn't completely freeze things. More than 15 seconds without client making a move. Send keep alive. And then there's update start time. So how would we break that up? So we've got update start time. What do I call this? Now this is in milliseconds. What he's doing is measuring over 30 frames, which allows you to get an average. These are only going to be interesting in so much as they are significantly more than probably like 1 millisecond. So we've got mouse over, global message, moving objects. Well, we want this to be more of a, I guess we do need a, game get current time minus section start time if you were a double. Actually, I just want to... This entire thing was like 2 normally. I mean, I want to see it once. Okay, we got some mouse over stuff, which I don't see that being a... Well, there's a bit of code here. So note paper... And I'm getting to like note paper and things. So this is... mouse over. Then we've got like notes and slips. I need to go back and these, because I don't have a thing, any kind of tag for like this class of things. I can search for in the logs. All right, so we've got live triggers. It's only doing it for one object, I think. Hints and tools. So they're filter, hint sheets, tools, tutorials. Tutorial sheets, craving sheet. That was something we modified. So cravings and some other slips. All right, so now we've got like disconnection management. And then there is the end of our other measurement. Oh, I left the double in there. So pretty much expect all of these to be 0. Oh, and some of these need some space. I'm seeing these much less densely than I expected. Okay, there we go. Now we're into regular updates. Yeah, so you might occasionally get it where like 1 millisecond elapses during one particular thing. Or actually, is this seconds with fractions? That would actually be important in terms of when we trigger. Okay, yeah. That would be significant to our trigger condition. And I mean, really, even though more than 0.1, but that wouldn't, well, greater than. It's in tools. Yep. Cravings and slips. Connection. Okay, and I actually did want to say two, apparently. Now, it is interesting that that does seem to be expensive, because it's most often hitting in that time window. I've never noticed anything that is happening when stuff goes wrong. Nope, doesn't even come up once. What? Okay, that was weird. But I really don't know what else to do without a better idea of what's going on. So what the? This is a multi-user thing for leadership graph. Did we actually have this sorted out? I guess I don't actually have to be. Well, if I'm a baby, it might be help to get picked up. Okay, so that's the simple case. Now, you don't even show up here. Well, it might be overlapped because they're not differentiating positions. Okay, so that kind of works. It's when it gets deep that things get more interesting. Okay, so now you have... Okay, that handles itself okay. Oh, but the baby is kind of stuck with what your original follow for a little bit. Cat's responding reasonably. The names aren't great, but I'm not sure that... I don't know that I would actually be using those names as the actual final rendering. Well, being able to see that there's multiple families is certainly interesting. Ultimately, this would be for your leadership hierarchy. So we'd probably do the thing where we omit names for people in your family. And if it goes outside of that, then that's weird. So what do we need to do to make that useful? Well, I kind of wanted to reposition it around your position in the tree. What do we even do? Let's just look at this. Leader. So that's the draw loop. Which all in all isn't that bad. It's like highest leader level. Okay, so we got a 2-loop calculator and some extra white space. Well, it's showing as an added line. That's some sort of other thing. Here's spinning, got pause, follow width. So we would have to make one loop through. Well, no, actually, it's going to be R. Label pause, leader graph pause, add. Graph center. Do we have an RLive object in scope here? Probably. So would that then be... Okay, so we would use like add last screen view center. And then you would use... Would you be add? I think one of these needs to be sub. So that is for point to point. Now my first character was the top of the tree, so that was our previous center anyway. You might be dead. Yeah, you're a new baby. It's hard to say. Well, you're not. Okay. Yep. I would say that you'd be a center. So that kind of works. And what are we drawing? Well, we're measuring string name and our graph layout. Are we also measuring that, or are we just using a constant size? Okay, start off at 128. Offset, offset. Yeah, I don't see any use of that. Let's say different leader pause. It's positioning, positioning. What do I do when I draw? Oh. What am I doing different here? Draw a name label assumes it's going to be attached to the person. Oh. And I renamed that patch. Draw a character name label. Which was probably looking forward to that situation. Or I might want something to do the other kind of name label. Get game object, draw pointer line, draw chalk background string, handwriting font. So it's chalk background string. Oh, but that is going to be the standard presentation. I might want to do something with like the lighter background. Or some other presentation. All right, string to uppercase. Yeah, so this is doing and then, well, so it just replaces it with that to make it a smaller thing. So I want something like that without all of the extra drawing. Like drawing the line and figuring out and offsetting the position. So in some ways it'll be more like it'll be a mashup of that and the regular draw chalk background string. And possibly, depending if I want to do character portraits. Oh, and possibly actually omit our live object. There's a pointer line, though. We're still going to need that. So this would be the label itself. Underpass, graph center. So actually, I don't think we need any of this stuff. Unless we actually draw that. And I think the circle is my current fallback. Yeah, if name equals null, we at least draw that. Okay, so it's relative to me, and I'm dead. Okay, those are pretty good pies. Yep, and you're done. Okay, so it does. This is just center of screen. It's not actually around the character. Well, the character has to have a position, but is that useful for last screen view center position? So last screen view center. I forget what the coordinates things are in. Isn't it like current pause or something? So properly speaking. I mean, really, we should always have this, but... Okay, well, that must be grid coordinates. Oh, you're a double pair. So we need our live object, current pause. There's going to be a lot of things. You're probably starving too. All right, and this was just to print some stuff out. Okay, yeah, so your grid positions, that's pixel positions. You can certainly translate those back. Screen grid offset. Is there anything in the character? Yeah, because we have to have fractional position. Oh, well, it might be fractional and then get multiplied out. So we would, in fact, have to use that. Okay, now that's not going to... show us that that's that other character. But we don't really have any kind of arrow for direction. So if you did any kind of direct pointer, you would need some kind of direction indicator on it. So I need a specialized version of chalk background string. So there's chalk background string, which it does some color stuff. I think we might want to add possibly leader color. All right, the saving speech. Okay, draw character name label, which should be a bit simplified but has no color. Well, it's simplified and complicated at the same time. So we don't want the complications of positioning things. We do want to do some stuff with color. And way the heck less arguments. Can I even get this on screen? Well, no, because now I've pushed down the other spot. All right, so we just had a position, we had a string, and we had a speaker. I think your leader color is an attribute of the object, so I don't need that. Force main chalk blots. So force blot color Oh, that must have a default value, so I wasn't seeing it in the arguments the other thing. But I also want to tweak the background a bit. So we've got a speaker. I think the only color we're going to use is leader color. Now this is a member function, so we're going to have to go to the header file. Oh, I only got that. I don't know if the speaker is optional on this one. Because that... Oh, yeah, because string was the name. And we're having this truncate the string. So this would simply be an error. And this would be in speaker name. Do I even want to... I mean, you could have a really long name. Okay, and that's that. That's it for that. Wait. What? Was this supposed to be string upper? I have to assume it does? Oh, and this had the in-max width. Well, this is something that... Right, you don't like to give me the view to the same file. Target pause, label pause. So we just had a width and a width limit. So string upper. Yeah, so actually the opening of this might look a little bit more like this. Well, string upper, fine. Yeah, so that must have been a mistake. Oh, all right, and we copied a bunch of JSON code. We're going to delete some stuff. Full width. I'm not yet sure where I'm using all of these things. Split lines. That was still using string upper. Is there a parable to this? There's lines. I don't know if I should need width here. So we've got a label pause, which here... Oh, so this is what I was pointing to. We don't have that. So that would only be an issue if we start doing things within pause. Name label fade. Which is a specific thing to name label. So I'm not going to have that yet. And then we're to line spacing. First line Y. I guess these could go off the screen. If you had some big hierarchy. Would I want to crunch them up in that case? I guess it would tell you there's stuff there. And all the positioning to be a little bit different. Because we're not positioning it relative to a person. Name label offset. Name label target, name label target, name label target. And then we get into color stuff. So you've got your own pointer line. Yeah, anchor, label, pause. Set draw color is probably replacing all of that. Now, where do I actually get... Well, we're just gonna have an in fade. So we're not gonna have anything with dying. Not gonna have anything with cursed. I guess there should be a default. This is saving speech. Okay, I guess I actually left some of the spaces in here. All right, blots. Actually, this is a spot where I should be doing this the other way. Oh, no, this ended up being that one. Okay, fine, we switch. So it's character name label. It's leader label. Jenkins random source. I have not been cleaning these up as we go. The blots might be pretty similar. Handwriting font, num blots, blah, 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 blah. Oh, this might be different because... Okay, so we don't have force min chalk blots. And somewhere I do something to make it not as heavy, which might just be not doing as many iterations of draw sprite. And then there's text color. So that's just the set draw color. I don't think I'm going to do anything with draw color. Although, is there a black leader color? Actually drawing the string, and you are done there. Color only, mask only, speech color image. So they're going to be really close right now, but I might want to do more stuff with this. So, we would like to make this. Draw a leader label. And I haven't done the color yet. Oh, in fact, there's still a dangling reference there. Enforce blot color. What is leader color? Badge color, and it is a float color. We should always have a character. So we just bail if we don't. Okay, so there's still an in fade. It is a in fade sack. It was a double. Maybe it would be a parameter once we get... is fade 0 for not faded? Or 1 for fully faded? Everybody's going to be dead. Okay, that it does not look faded. Okay, so that dot is there. But that is drawn without any consideration for fade. Okay. I must have been doing some sort of width or offset before. So I was passing text pause. Oh, maybe I was adjusting this. Whereas, does that not need to be adjusted at all? Maybe I copied some stuff from my other function that just centered it for me. We'll also have to see how that holds up as we do other things. Oh, I'm probably still... Am I still positioning this on the entire string? But this is a case where we kind of do just want to position this one on a straight up center. So you'd just be label pause. And if it had to be centered, then that should happen at the other... Now, interestingly enough, draw chalk background string... Actually, draw chalk background string was centering it because it's normally centered over the person's head. So some of the positioning code we got rid of. Was actually doing that. No, because I was manually centering it before. But I'm doing it based on, I'm doing it based on the full name, and then we're alighting some of that. So in draw character name label, we skipped over all the positioning stuff because it didn't quite apply. But we do the text width at some point. Because when we flip to the other end, we have to go to the end of the text. Measure string. Widest line. Okay, then that's what we use to bump things over. Okay, so this would be what we would use for centering. Wait, what are you? Your character. Your draw chalk. What is this comparable to? You've got widest line. You just might not be using it. Oh, it's using it for the screen edge. So we've got in pause, which is assuming, all this measurement is assuming that stuff. So that's doing the left-right. But we always want to, So that's doing those measurements as if it was left aligned. We want to say that and then minus If it's over the edge, then set the edge to that. No, this is moving it over to be based relative to that, and then this actually does represent the position where we're drawing it. But we're measuring based on the adjusted string now. Okay, that's looking a little bit better. I don't know if it'll look good under all possible colors. Did Jason have any... Well, he could have done it on the server. Anything to test badge colors in-game? Any with no other leaders above, personal leadership. Look at... You know, and this ends up being per character. So I'd actually have to be changing the other person, like in my client. It's location slips. Or maybe... Maybe just go through and change everybody's badge color. Well, as long as we get a new one, well, we don't change lives that often. Well, actually, I'm not concerned about the actual badge color. I'm concerned about the color I'm drawing this label. Which I guess... Didn't you already have... Yes, you did. This is going to look terrible. Oh, this is a fixed seed. Well, get random double. It'd be more of a get random int. Do we have, let's say, a default random bounded int? Just rand source. So this is badge colors. Num badge colors. Rand source. Ooh. Dot. Get random bounded int. That's 2 arguments. Zero. Num badge colors. Num badge. It was declared below here. Where's step? It's above step. Do we not just like iterate all live objects somewhere? I forget if it's a living object or live object. Maybe that'd just be easier to figure out from the header. Live object's the thing. Okay, so live objects. Static. Not the one I wanted. Oh, because it's a live object set. Don't see that either. Get live object. Game objects. Simple vector live object. Okay, so step is right down here. So game object Or specifically for a war report. We're still in step. That's in a message response. It's a lineage message. And I guess I could pick a random message and have that be. And it's still message response. Update all positions for moving objects. Okay, so that's that kind of moving objects. So we get an object. Oh. Well, he's got a last display time in there. I think it would have been a nice pace. So, oh, badge color. Huh? Set animation badge color. Oh, there's a get float color around there. Now, it seemed like it was us complaining about the index, though. No, okay, that was just where it decided there was an error. Connection failed? Oh. I don't know what it is about the local servers lately. Okay. So, that did not like rapidly changing badge colors. Oh, I wonder if that has to be -1. That might make sense. Yeah, that's too fast to actually see if there's a readability issue. Also, I'm putting it at people's feet, so I either need to like stretch that somehow or pick a different position for it. So that is too fast. What happens at a... I mean, I could probably pick some message. Pause equals parent current pause. That looks like some sort of click. I can control that. Okay, so it's actually mouse move. Okay, so that one's not great. But we'd have to like look into the color and like do the inverse or something, which might not end up looking good. Yeah, the dark ones are a little bit problematic. Also, that is in fact a move. Check for pointer hit. Still happens on move. That's pointer down. Oh, no, this is specifically kill. Well, I just need this weapon. For non-kill. It might require us to click on a person. Perhaps it's not us. Oh. Which picks them up. Okay, so, nope, that... Maybe with an item. Nope. Okay. Okay. So there should be some kind of click. Well, unless it doesn't early return. There we go. So a couple of those dark ones. So that was a float color. So is that going to be RGB? Text color was not declared in this scope. Wrong case. Okay, well. Apparently that is not what a float color looks like. Oh, the alpha should have been, but maybe it was uninitialized. I guess really we should use badge color.a. Not that you'd ever expect that to be alpha. Well, that doesn't look great. That's kind of muddy. Okay, and that, admittedly, I'm on a bad color right now, but that is like a few of them work. Maybe if you did like an average that was really low or something, but then you could also just make it white. What would you say? Well, where's our badge colors? What would we guess is the problem ones? There's like a dark blue. That feels like more of a bright blue. It's a pure red. That could be kind of a dark blue. So that's 75 hex. Nope, because we're in programmer mode. That was like, what, 112? .43. So if our total is like less than 0.5, we'd consider that extremely dark. I guess it's float colors would be technically float, right? There's probably a technical definition of that, right? Like if we did, well, I mean, hue matters a little bit, but like if we did like the HSL conversion to lightness, that would actually be a technical definition of that. I didn't want to change the window. This would be R from RGB. Zero, one. A maximum component, which is the HSV version. Minimum component, V minus range. Mid-range. Mid-range is lightness. Well, there's max, min, mid. Lightness is mid, which is equal to the maximum of any component and the minimum of any component. Which is also equal to the maximum minus the range divided by 2. Huh. So V is the maximum component and L is the mid-range component. Okay. And mid-range would probably be fine. Well, maximum component's easier to calculate. And might actually work as a simplified version for what we're doing. Is there any kind of... Huh. There's no maximum function. That makes it very tempting just to go back to average. Actually, where does float color come from? It's going to be a minor gems thing, right? Do you have any utility functions? Where are you? Game graphics. Set draw color, get draw color, draw sprite, draw sprite. Psh, no. Now I could take the sum of that and use it, but thinking of this as an average brightness, well, if you have a full component of, say, whatever, and nothing else, well, white on pure green wouldn't necessarily look good. And that would look like 30%. And it might be readable. But that was like half, and half of 30%, 33%. Well, that's gonna be close to like. Actually, that's no, that's 30. I'm thinking 30 frames. 16, 17. Half of one component. Maybe we say 0.2. Well, it's always at logging Eve death. But I mean, that has to happen on like low pop servers all the time. No. Okay, so it does cover that one. And really, there's only, I think it needs to be maybe a little bit more. And this is the other really bad one. And that's readable. But it might look better with a little bit higher tolerance. Oh. So I'd have to have my other person moving me around. Huh. Huh. So current pause doesn't live update? Well, that's certainly interesting. So it must be a different value. I mean, I could certainly see that explaining a few things in some of the weird screen glitches. So what do we use? I mean, it's using something for the screen positioning. But maybe it's like explicitly checking for held by other. I just messed with that camera center stuff. No, I forgot where it was. Camera control. View left limit. What are we using to determine target object? Okay, so it is kind of explicitly picking a target object. Held by adult. It's interesting it doesn't go updating your position. And it is current pause. And screen target pause. And we just need the position out of this. Target object pause, which is kind of what it does there. Oh, right, so null check. So you're a child of this. I guess we could even do something like this. Camera follows object is our live object. But we have to assert that this exists before we check for properties of it. And that's actually doing the fix-up. Let's get into current pause. Oh, this no longer... We won't get a carrier object unless our object exists. Okay, this is parent. Can't pick you up anymore. And you also starved. Okay. We still have to fix the display position. Probably around the head, which actually getting the head position can be its own trial. Well, we sort of use it for speaker, I guess. It's slightly dark. What do you think was that other blue? I think there's it's kind of a mixed gray. So there's some other components in there. So if you were like searching for a person that was being carried, they would show up at their last known position. Huh. I guess maybe 5 makes sense. Halfway there. This is a very simplified measure of... the actual lightness was the min and the max, and the average between them. Okay, some of these might be a little bit surprising. And some the background legibility can depend on what you're on. Yeah, that's maybe dubious. The darker blue looks good. I wonder if that's specific to like blue versus green. Well, that's something. All right. Badge color equals... current leader label. And we were offsetting this. Where... it might be a constant speaker position, regardless of age. Well, I've got a young person. Oh, maybe he does something special that captures head position while he's drawing everything. And then does the speaker draw. Yeah. Well, I mean, this is a piece of drawing. Speech pause. Speaker size. Oh, it's actually quite complicated. Speaker's pause. Oh, we gather the speaker positions as we draw each object. Oh, so this is figuring out... 10152. Oh, I did this above speakers. But that means we should have speaker pause. That almost suggests we should actually do this in this loop. Since we basically want speech pause or a variant of it. Well, but it's our live object and not every live object. But that means we're not just... we'd have to say, like, is this our live object, then do this. And then there's the offset by half width. Oh my gosh. Oh, this is why speaker pause. Because if you're being carried by someone, logically it would be your speaker pause would be wherever your head is as carried by that person. But either we have to do another loop through all objects to say, hey, that's us. Now we know what our index is. Or we do this as an addendum to speech. Pushback, speakers. Oh, but it only calculates this for people speaking, so that's not always going to be valid for us. Speaker pause. Hold pause. Oh, save the world hold pause for smooth set down. It's a thing you could check. Held object draw pause. If held object equals null, or it's not writable. Okay, so that's the held object, which is not necessarily assigned to a person at this point. If baby object not equal to null, last held by raw pause, which is world hold pause, which is probably grid coordinates. So one of the ways we could deal with this is just to say, well, if we have a last held by raw pause set, then instead of checking to see if we're being held, well, I don't know if that gets cleared properly. Perhaps. All right, this is camera follows object. We're considering with where we're actually getting drawn. So this is more like if we have a live object. I think where we might want an intermediate thing. Could we actually say graph center equals Let's not toss this just yet. It's always when they die. Because I wasn't sure about the exact moment before. That seemed like that just happened. Alright, so it's working for me. So that's working pretty good there. Oh, how about... Yeah, seems fine. Then we've got all the head offset. So we're using speech pause for most of this. Also, display ID. So we only need O a couple of times. Oh, so we're only calculating like one number here. Oh, I might not... I wonder if I had to install something for Syntastic, because I don't think I've had any of those warnings. Grid center... Graph center. All right, so we've got... Yeah, that's a little bit too high. I might have to do some special stretching there. All right, so we've got a plus 84. We've got a head pause. Got a body pause. Got a front foot pause. Age head offset. Age body offset. This must come down to the 84. How much of it is that? All these spaces are going to show up in the patch later. The head pause might be from like body center. Well, might be about right. It's about right for you, but it's like at the base of the head. So you probably want to move it up a little bit, and then it's still... It'd be a little odd. How big is a head? So 84 takes you like past the head and then some. Yeah, maybe split it. Okay, so that's like top of your head. I guess I kind of need to get a third person so one character can give me both top and bottom. Okay, new hierarchy. Speech is in the way. So that's kind of, well, you probably would want to be able to see speech. So I would say that needs to drop like another maybe 20-ish. It doesn't really move with the person, but so as you're running around doing stuff, you'd have. And I think I may have messed with this positioning before, and that was kind of the problem for like trying to do like some of these kind of things. But it does avoid the... My other name label thing was being affected by... shake. So we were doing... Yeah, the head X pause. Which actually, that might kind of be the trick. Now the character name had a bit of stabilization to it. It was really only the line and the left-right flipping that was an issue. Oh no, it wasn't moving at all. Hmm. Oh man, what the heck happened here? Oh, it was O here. Okay, that didn't really do anything for me, actually. Well, I mean, it might with age, but it's not really helping that. So that's sort of serviceable. And we want to do just names. Well, pulling out to draw just ahead might be a challenge. What does genetic history page? I don't suppose you call it portrait. No. Fitness score details. Where do you come from? Fitnessscore.cpp. Draw face. Display ID age. Well, indeed it looks up head index. Oh yeah, she does dig down to a face object. But he's using a stencil to cut it off. The rest of the body is being drawn. Well, maybe. But he specifically pulled out the face object. Yeah, the body's being drawn. He's using that for location purposes or something. Okay, the base object for the display ID. He's finding the head position. But the way things get drawn, I don't know if there's any way to pull out just the head. I mean, I could do something like he does with stencils. Draw the entire character. Is it? It's Animation Bank, perhaps. Draw object anim. So apparently it does come down to draw object a little bit. That's what he's using for this. In object, because a character display ID is an object. The head is not an object. It is an index within here, and there's not really, and it's a sprite index. Here's all the positioning stuff. Skip sprite drawing. So I'd kind of have to duplicate that, where we do all the positioning for each person. Do some kind of stencil out for everything else. Or I do a copy of draw object that and you see it finds the head. It finds head index for certain purposes, like getting head paws. But the head is going to be composed of mouth, eyes, hair. And I don't know that any of that stuff is going to be represented. Sprite ancestor. See obj body part pause. In object. So is this recursive? Oh, in this object is head index an ancestor of body index? You'd think that would always be true. Get age body offset. Check sprite object in object I head index. Oh, if I equals head index and the current sprite's ancestor is head, then add the sprite position of that. So maybe you could do a like, well, let's get closest object. Maybe you could do a specialized draw object. That would check sprite ancestor and only draw the head. All right, what state is our code in here? Oh, we're in object bank now. I might actually want to turn my attention to making it more functional and worry about fancier presentation later. Oh my goodness, we have not cleaned all of this up at all. Where are you? It's one of the uses of first line. And that's been kind of replaced. Haven't hit save yet. And where the heck is that? Our leadership chain. I changed some white space, apparently. Is that that's an our leadership chain equals. Okay. So this is probably going to be another key kind of thing. Or maybe trigger it on leader follower. Oh, the other thing is I did fixed width on those. I cut the names down a bit by making them first name only. I might need to change the size now. It's kind of an arbitrary size. But to make it functional, I think it would only work as part of the leader command, etc., if there was a good way to clear it. Because I could end up covering quite a lot of the screen. Oh. And do we handle other hierarchies? I might just draw everything on top of each other. I mean, I guess quickly following someone to look at their hierarchy might make sense. Did you crash again? No, that wasn't disconnected. Or that wasn't Eve died, rather. Oh, I need to clear out that dot. I have to figure out what to do as a placeholder if there's no name. Oh, gooseberry. Hey, another Eve. Okay, so I am seeing the other hierarchy. But it's still being drawn around me. What do we do with you? And I'm not exactly sure how it's being positioned around you either. Oh no, that's them. I'm not drawing my own. Probably it only makes sense to view your own. That means we have to figure out which hierarchy that is, or if someone is in your hierarchy as we draw that. Speech bubbles are over it. So it shouldn't be an issue. I mean, we'll end up having to see if it gets in the way of anything else. We wanted to... All right, so we are going through game objects. That's if our live object for center. We have no information about if it's part of our network. We just draw the pre-computed position and the pre-computed target line. Is there any other state information about leader? It might just be, I mean, we could do a badge color check and hope there's never too many leadership things going around. Be the cheapest way, perhaps. Leadership level. Huh. Okay. If this person, highest leader ID, is the same as ours and not equal to -1, then they're in the same hierarchy. Okay, if object equals null, if well, if it's only going to be our hierarchy, then we just don't draw this if we don't have a live object. Oh, okay. Oh, actually, I checked it up here, so I don't need to check it down here. These things could still, and they're members of the game objects, but paranoia. But we already checked our live object for not null. If they follow themselves, then we're never going to draw anything. Highest leader. Oh, that would be highest leader and no followers. I think it still represents you in your own hierarchy. Highest leader ID. Our live object has leader ID. Okay, so we need a new child. We're definitely not seeing you. You might still be -1. Oh, actually, I'm seeing a line. So what does your view look like? You also see nothing. Well, we seem to have messed something up here. Is it messed up for everything? Oh, well, I mean, that kind of works, but... Too many windows. Okay, so yeah, she would follow your leader. So highest leader ID does not seem to be set for the as self for the leader of a hierarchy. So would this always show leaders? The problem is it's all overlapped. Oh, we can check leader level. Right. How many tiers of people are below this person? So actually it would be leadership level 0 that we would not want to draw. However, if you were the leader, you would have a -1 highest leader ID, and any other leader would also have a -1 highest leader ID. Oh, and what if we are the leader? Our highest leader ID is -1. Can we ever process this in here anywhere? Oh, is following us a permanent thing? I mean, following us is a particular thing, not... Personal leadership color, personal leadership color. Find all our allies. Highest leader ID. All of our allies. Now that says highest leader ID should be set if it's at the top of a hierarchy. Wait, and not following us? So allies but not followers? Leadership name tag. So this is assigning the tag. Not actually able to understand for allies. Why not following us? Well, going to have to do some spamming here. No, we need the ID. %D follows blah. And we follow... Well, I mean, now we get the entire graph. But who is us? From the perspective of... Is it ID? Oh, yeah, I was messing with the conditions. So that one definitely doesn't work. Okay, from the perspective of 38, 38's leader is 40. 40's leader is -1. And 41 follows 40. So the leader's highest leader ID is -1. But they should have a leadership level. Right, but we're checking highest leader ID equals. So how do we know? So if this highest leader ID is the same, or they are our leader. OID not equal to our live object highest leader ID? That's a weird way to say that. So highest leader ID does indicate a leader of something. They are going to be in a different hierarchy. But we can't just say -1 because that is... I actually need to invert this. So we actually want to say if we're in the same hierarchy or they are our leader is what we want to say. We have to then turn around and invert it. Okay. Uh... Oh, but Twyla still follows. All right. You still follow her. I guess I can... Okay, so I no longer see that hierarchy. Okay, now... Something's wrong here, because they are part of my hierarchy. Let's try and get a clean log. Didn't need to make again. Your follower. Your follower. So from the perspective of 40, 38 follows 40, 40 follows no one. Oh. Or their highest leader ID is me. Because I'm -1, so I'm not going to match with them. Okay, presentation leaves something to be desired. Right, they still, yeah. Okay, but Twyla still follows you. And you're not Vogue to... There's another one down here. Man, I'm barely done at all. Well, maybe she's getting more hunger boxes. Oh, what happened here, though? What did the other people see? Oh, I wonder if... I may have already messed this up. $38 and $40 are -1s. And 41 follows 40. But I'm still seeing two names here. Because -1 equals -1. Thus, we have our leadership level test. Oh, this is so convoluted. So if it's this But if it's -1, it can still be our leader. And we could be the leader. So that's like an exclusion only to the highest leaders equal condition. So we are in the same hierarchy. Either of us could be -1 and be the leader of our own hierarchy. If both of us are -1, that's a problem. So this is the positive set of conditions. If we're in the same hierarchy, or I follow you or you follow me, this is kind of a negative condition. I almost want to say that we just come out here. Now, this will be if we process ourselves as -1, then we don't do anything here. Now, it would only be the incoming line, and that we would be a leader at that point, so there would be no incoming line. Oh, I had switched over. Okay, so I had followed myself, is that right? The position actually is a little bit weird there. Maybe I'm missing some cases in my graph layout. Oh no, that is, oh no, yeah, and I have one follower left. All right, I have no followers. But this thing is a little bit unfortunate with speech. Because this is actually kind of happening during, or this might be interesting during leadership change events. You're the VOD player, right? So that's, I mean, he's obviously... Find our allies. Well, this is a specific condition for your ally, so it's excluding your follower, your leader. It's determining following us. Use badge color. Yeah, it's balanced. Done with it. Oh, and lose this. So, if we did that on any use of leader and follower command, and maybe if it was a lot briefer than the other labels, I might also have to see about repositioning things if speech becomes an issue. Uh, so I could do something like hold a key. Which means it can config for another key. It does have the nice property that it kind of, well, you'd still have a key held state, but that's your state. If it's automatic, then we've got a setting file anyway for Rudder to ever show that. So if we just put in a temporary one today, so we filled up that stuff, we filled up most of that stuff. I don't know if I've used H yet. That would be hierarchy. That would just be a matter of making it variable. Actually, I could follow this really easily. But they have to spell hierarchy. It doesn't appear anywhere in here. Is it thinking? Or is it like, nah, dog, that's not text? Actually, what I want was new. Or maybe it just wasn't misspelled. Aha. Well, it wants it to be capitalized. Did I not? Yeah, so that's just more of a grammar check than anything. Hierarchy. We got onto the H file. Hierarchy key. And it's going to have a state. Hierarchy. This is once you're okay. Well, that's still map limit stuff. Oh, oops. It needs to be fixed in its home patch. Hierarchy key string. String, string, string. Oh, does that mean we have no default on this one? I guess that's a way to effectively have the feature disabled. I probably don't know if I want to mess with that now. Anyway, in ASCII equals show hierarchy. Oh, actually, we're going to need a fade state for this one. Why did I do that like this? Surely I had some good reason. So to do this nice, we're going to need a fade. That might be the thing that has to wait for cleanup. Somehow we're still here. Yeah, so it might be nice to be able to see it during speech events. I might actually want to switch priority since it's completely voluntary at this point. When we start adding fade, it could become a little bit more of a problem. But I have corresponding less control over the display of speech. Location speech. Okay, yeah, it's... Well, okay, so it's not legible. I specifically tried to make it less pronounced than speech. I guess the color does set it apart, unless you happen to be white. But it also has the potential to block out a lot of stuff when you get actual realistic scenarios going. And then, of course, if it gets really big, we have to do this. The 2-key operation, which might be make me have to rethink some key assignments. So getting covered up by speech, or covering up speech. Well, covering up speech isn't really an issue. It's just that I might need to make it solid. Because it's pretty much voluntary. If it's on top, then you can control it. And I think that was just second instance. Well, there was actually a little bit more to it. There was like that and like a top-bottom thing. Oh no, okay, so it is like, oh, there was one rotation. Draw it twice, and then all of this. All right, so if I want to see it, I can see it. Actually, still a slight transparency there. And then we'll see what realistic hierarchies look like. I've actually been starting to suspect that they're going to be extremely wide, in which case I might want to tighten up, but I'm going to have to get a hierarchy that's kind of like that to see what actually looks good. Well, getting a hierarchy that's like that is just a matter of getting a bunch of people in. Which means I think I actually need to have a mother. Oh, well, we lost somebody. Oh, but she actually followed that. Well, that will correct itself shortly. I guess we can get you back in. Oh, you're new. And we're still, okay, you're not involved. Okay, so with other names, it's... One of my Eves just died. No, that was something else. I wonder if it's a certain amount of runtime? Oh. Is this what the newer GCC version? Do we have a memory leak? Because maybe it's a certain amount of time. Oh, actually, I have no idea who you are. Wonderful. I wonder whether we'll figure out who our VOG player is. Okay, so that may have been 2. Well, we'll find out. Okay. Get out of the cold. Alright. Baby can't really do any naming, so... Don't need you right now. Alright, here's that. You? We do have some cross-family here. Makes it a little bit more awkward. We're gonna have... this setup is gonna have at least 2, so it's kind of hard to... I might just have to try it today and see what the realistic spacing is. if it's a problem or if it's not. Oop, wrong window. No, you're the baby. Okay, I don't have a problem there. This was 5. Okay, and that kid followed you. So Anil for is kind of okay spacing. And maybe I could do actual measurement? I don't remember how sensitive my layout ended up being. Okay, that's you. I think you're the baby. How sensitive my layout ended up being to knowing the exact size and things being even proportion. Oh, and I've still got my dummy circle in there. I should probably have something better for unknown people. That might be a little wide for same family. But if I start messing with the spacing of that, I'm just worried it's going to turn into a total mess. All right. Oh, you know what? At one time, I actually had a string parameter in here. Or the functions I copied had a string because it was for speech. I assumed if object equals null. Oh, no, I mean, that's the label that does the circle. No, we assume a name. If name equals null, continue. This is allocated. And it wants to delete it. Did I hit caps lock or something? Change in block. Just the wrong key. That will affect the string copy. You were a baby, weren't you? Well, you might be a little bit older now. You're an almost dead baby. We're going to have some more almost dead babies soon. All right, and now we need a new baby. Now the question is, who are my mothers? Right. Oh, okay. That might actually be your position. It doesn't account for laying down. I don't know that if dot dot dot's the best representation here. Okay, we don't have that. We have that. Well, I mean, some of these characters are possible to print, but not to type. That's checking for a space. It sort of works. But yeah, I can see width being a problem in a large family. It's also starting to exceed the length of the line I can make. All right. Do we have any? Do I even have a note on working on this? Hierarchy. Okay, we did that. We have key settings. We have fade in out. I kind of don't want to do auto shows just because I have to do settings for those to make it not in the way if you don't want it. Look at width. Variable width. All right, I don't have anything noisy in the logs right now, do I? No. Okay, good. I may have a naming thing to sort out here too. So that's something we can play with today. I suspect that the way the auto follows work is just going to be one flat hierarchy, which actually almost makes it less interesting, except when you're trying to like organize a coup essentially. In which case, you don't have any way to see the splinters. I mean, maybe you could... Maybe you could do it to show the graph for any other person. It's like if you're over somebody, you do it from them. We wouldn't have to use our live object. It would have to be like hierarchy focus or something. Oh, and display. I kind of wanted to do heads. Or you probably have to have the names to actually trace somebody down, but given a name, you then have to go find that name. So that might be a little bit of assistance. And let's see, tuning, scaling. Maybe we should investigate the server crash sometimes. That's a new phenomenon. Actually, I wonder if the server does any win calls. I mean, normally stuff goes through minor gems. You'd probably be less concerned, but no, it wouldn't do Windows calls because it's doing there. But something apparently changed with the way it does stacks, so it does almost seem like a time running thing. So maybe the thing to do there would be to just do a log every now and then. Just sort of count up time, and it always dies at the same time. We know there's something going on there. All right, well, we'll play around with this later today. Meanwhile, I want to have lunch. Let's see. And oh my gosh. Let's see. I don't know if we got code people or One Life people right now. I do see somebody playing One Life, though, that I have seen before. I am usually on around these times. This afternoon is usually my 1 hour One Life day. So if you're pressed by cool to hang out in the meantime, Left Trigger Games is playing 1 hour One Life. Thanks for hanging out with me. Goodbye, and until next time.